Locked On MLB. Your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And thanks for making Locked On MLB your first listen. We're free and available on all platforms, whether you're listening to us on Google, Apple, Player FM, Podbeam, or right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. If you can look at my lower third right there, you can tell that you can always call me Sully. Today's episode, we are dropping fast. We're trying to get it done. Unlike the Rays-Red Sox game, which I have no evidence to let me know that it's ended. I think it ended, but nothing in this game seemed to make sense. It's a strange game that the finale can be summed up by saying, thank God it was a 2-run home run. This show is available on the free and easy-to-use Odyssey app. And if you have a smart device, be sure to tell it to play podcast Locked On MLB or check out some of the other great shows in the Locked On Podcast Network, including Locked On Fantasy Baseball with Scott Cullen. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram on the handle Locked On MLB Pods. I'm your pal Sully. You can tell here if you want to follow me on Twitter. Follow me at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. That was almost as long. That game was almost as long as Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in order. Almost. I think we'd be right around the time the Ewoks were showing up. Okay, that's how I judge time. Yeah, the Red Sox and the Rays played a wild, weird game that for a giant chunk of the game seemed like the Red Sox kind of had in control. Well, let me put it this way. I've been on this podcast, and if you've been following me, I know I have been. You know that I think that the Rays have been the heads and shoulders favorite to win the American League pennant. I thought they were so much better than all the other. The other teams were clumped together, and the Rays were just better. And a week and a half ago, the Red Sox dropped a series to the historically awful Baltimore Orioles. And I think anyone following the Red Sox or as a casual baseball fan saw the Red Sox as a team that peaked early, hung on for dear life, and the only thing that got them the wild card game as the host was the fact that the Yankees lost a couple of key games to Tampa down the stretch, and that Toronto could not put away the Yankees. You know, by all intents and purposes, down the stretch, the wild card should have been New York versus Toronto or Toronto versus Seattle or some combination. The Red Sox just weren't that good. Their pitching didn't look great. Their bats went to sleep, and they happened to sweep a terrible Nationals team. Remember, they were down 5-1 in the final game of the season. That would have forced a winner-take-all game against Toronto. And I thought they were going to get killed in the wild card game. And anyone who followed the Red Sox or grew up a New Englander or whatever it is probably thought that the wild card game victory, I'm going to adjust myself in my seat here for those of you watching me, that the wild card game victory here against New York was their championship. That was their moment. That was going to be the big highlight of the year. And after game one, when they just got stomped by Tampa, and then we're down 5-2 in the first inning of game two with Chris Sale hitting the showers, I really thought we were completely seeing the Red Sox in just happy to be here territory. Now, mind you, I've been accused of bias left and right, and it's not been a mystery that I grew up a huge Boston Red Sox fan, and I appeared on HBO on the topic. That is why I'm wearing my Mariners shirt right now during this podcast. You cannot say that I'm being rah-rah for one team or another. Okay. Tampa, I don't know what's happened. I don't understand what's happened. The Red Sox bats woke up. And I guess in a small sample size, a team can take 2 out of 3. You know? The Orioles did that to the Red Sox. And just so happened that the Red Sox bats woke up at the right time. Now, what we saw today was the weirdest. I mean, I think the wild card game between St. Louis and Los Angeles was the best played really good game of this postseason so far. And today's Boston Tampa Bay marathon was, I mean, it was exhausting. It was exhausting, and there were all sorts of little weird things that happened. And Cora got away with a couple of things. I think he took out Brazier too early, and then he left Robles in to face a Rosarena. I understand that to a degree. He had just gotten a strikeout, and there was 2 outs in the eighth. They were on the verge of getting out of it, and if Robles had gotten a Rosarena out, then you would have had so many pitchers who would have been available for the ninth with a lead. I thought they should have walked to Rosarena and just faced Kiermaier. Yeah, I know that it would have put the go-ahead run on base, and I just heard Keith Law scream in my ear about how that's bad strategy, but I just felt that, this is we're talking about taking the bat out of the hand of the person they're calling Senor October. So you'll forgive me if I was thinking that when that happened, but of course Rosarena got the double. And the scenario that happens and has been happening whenever I see teams do the opener, when I see teams go to the bullpen way too fast, have a parade of pitchers coming in, and you're on your fifth or sixth pitcher, and it's the fifth inning, there's always a thing that goes in my head, which is, what if this goes deep and you've used all your best relievers? You got to have some people who've got to dig deep and throw more innings than you expect. And when the Red Sox could not get any of those runners across, and they wound up lifting Schwarber for Dahlbeck as a pinch runner, and I remember thinking, if this goes into extra innings, you want Schwarber's bat. There was almost a moment where Grady Little did a Freaky Friday with Alex Cora as the manager of the Red Sox, because one of the things beyond just leaving Pedro Martinez in too long in the ALCS of 2003, one thing that would always drive me crazy about the way Grady Little would handle the team is that he would pinch run for Ortiz or Manny Ramirez late in the game, thinking we're trying to get that run in. Yeah, but then they don't, and all of a sudden you have someone like Damian Jackson as the DH instead of David Ortiz. That used to drive me bananas. Just stop pinch running for Ortiz. And I remember I had a little flashback when they pinch ran for Dahlbeck. Give the Rays a ton of credit. They didn't let the Red Sox pile on the runs. They did get the game-tying run in that wild eighth inning. And in came, and I've compared them to the broomsticks in Fantasia. In came Fleming, Kittredge, Fairbanks led up a home run. Then Fireisen, Whistler, who was terrible earlier against Red Sox in an earlier game, was great today, inning and a third. Jaguar pitched an inning and 2/3. Robertson pitched 2 innings out of the bullpen. And then Patino, not Rick Pitino, but Patino allowed the home run to Christian Vasquez, but he had pitched a shutout. All these pitchers, after the eighth inning, every pitcher who came in, every time the ball left their hand, the Red Sox could have walked off the game. And it was nerve-wracking. Of course, it's a game 3. So now here we're looking at this, and the Rays are going into a do-or-die game in Fenway Park. Nobody knows who's going to be their starter. They thought it was going to be Patino. It's going to be a bullpen game, but I got news for you. They just threw a bullpen game. And I can't help but wonder that this is part of what happens when you don't let your starters go deep. This is not old man Sully. This is me pointing out the reality of right now is if you go deep in a ball game, you're going to start pulling in pitchers that you don't want to use in key situations. Red Sox, the same thing. Uvalde couldn't pitch 6. And so therefore in comes the parade of pitchers. And then poor Nick Pivetta. I mean, it goes the other way. Pivetta, who was outstanding, and we'll get in the next segment about how he got lucky, but he was outstanding. And let me go check out here. I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, 4 shutout innings out of the bullpen. And he struck out, how many did he strike out? He struck out 7 batters, 3 hits, 1 walk, no runs. Should have been 1 run. That's what we'll talk about in the next segment. But the fact of the matter is because, Brazier was burnt in early, Robles and Whitlock Is it did Adam Ottavino key somebody's car? Why is he not? Maybe Adam Ottavino is going to start tomorrow. Maybe it could be Adam Ottavino and Matt Barnes are going to start tomorrow. This, by the way, shows you how far Matt Barnes has fallen down on the depth chart with the Red Sox. Is they would rather have Pivetta throw a fourth inning than let Matt Barnes come in there with a game on the line. But the fact of the matter is this: the Red Sox, a team who just a week ago were the ultimate, we're just happy to be here, we don't even deserve to be here playoff team, is one home win away from going to the American League Championship Series. And let me tell you something. I can't wait to watch that and watch all the games that are going on tomorrow, because it's going to be so many, but I got to watch them on all these different devices. And does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another one lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching another game on your phone, and you've got your best friends log in to stream all the good stuff. I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment together without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV all in one place. And it's called DirecTV Stream. It brings your live TV and on-demand shows and all your favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract, so get rid of the clutter, the confusion, and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device is required. Content varies by package. All right, now, I have been accused of bias. I'm trying to wear my Mariners shirt so people don't think I'm overly biased as, oh, you're just a Red Sox fan, everything like that. I'm trying to just talk about the game rationally as a baseball fan, but I'm going to bring someone aboard because we have a surprise guest here, someone who was not originally scheduled to be here, but someone who cannot claim to have any lack of bias when it comes to the Boston Red Sox. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring her back. Fan favorite, the host of Locked On Red Sox is Lauren Campbell. How you doing, Lauren?
I'm doing great, Sully. How are you?
You were a guest before you appeared on, before you became a Locked On host. You were on Locked On MLB. So you've been you were on the old Sully Baseball show.
Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah, actually, I was on your show. What was your show?
You were.
Yeah, this is we go way back. We go way back to the point when you had me on in 2014. That was two Red Sox championships ago, because it was you were talking 2014, so what happened to the team, and I said, well, they actually weren't that great to begin with.
Yes.
But all right, Lauren, I talked a little bit at the beginning about the fact that the pitchers, I mean, if you're going to be burning all your best pitchers by the fifth inning, don't be surprised if you're using the next day's starter to go a bunch of innings. But I want to talk right now about the elephant in the room, and it's not Stomper, the mascot of the A's. It is the play that happened in right field involving Hunter Renfroe. I will say, thank God it was a 2-run home run by Christian Vasquez, because if it was a solo shot, we would never hear the end of it. But tell us your thoughts of that play, because at least, I mean, I was listening to Joe Castiglione and I was listening to Sean McDonough and Fleming, all of them, and even they were saying that the Rays got hosed, that run should have he basically, the run should have come around to score. Well, tell me your thoughts of the play involving Renfroe in right field in the 13th.
So I'd never seen anything like this before. This was just a very wild and crazy play. But I think, rules are rules. You have the catwalk in the Trop that Red Sox fans try not to complain too much about. But I think, too, that I'm very surprised that Diaz did not score, because regardless if it's a ground rule double, I think he's scoring. I think 9 out of 10 people are probably scoring on that play. So I do think at the end of the day, yes, it was a gift for the Red Sox, but rules by the rule book, it's the completely right play. If I was a Rays fan, if this happened, if this was opposite, if the roles were reversed, I'd be heated right now and I would be singing a totally different tune. So I understand like the anger, the confusion, because this is not something you see every day, but by the rule book, it's the correct call. I'm just, because Diaz was so in between like second and third, that's why I think we're the most surprises that he was not granted home. But at the end of the day, that's in the rule book, and that's what we have to go by.
I think this is the difference between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. When you consider that, so I think it was Craig Calcaterra on Twitter, or he may have retweeted. Someone said, "What's going to prevent this from a player from swatting a ball into the stands to be a ground rule double?" To Hunter Renfroe's credit, I think it just ricocheted off of him. I don't think he was trying to be Pele and or heck, Jose Canseco and have it bounce off of his head.
Right.
But that's a great point you made, Lauren, about the Trop has so many bizarre Thunderdome rules. If it hits this and then lands in someone's coke, it's a double. If it hits here and someone and a cat runs across, there's so many weird things that happen in the Trop. So maybe maybe that's almost appropriate that it took place in a series between Boston and Tampa Bay. But let's also huge tipping of the cap to both David Robertson of Tampa, Nick Pivetta obviously was doing his best, Nathan Eovaldi. He almost pitched as long as Eovaldi.
You sure did.
And I don't know. Are you starting tomorrow? Who's the starting pitcher for the Red Sox tomorrow? Is it going to be Schiraldi? Who's it going to be? Oil Can Boyd? Is he rested? I mean,
he better be rested.
We're going to bring back Jake Peavy. Who the hell is going to? Who the two starting pitchers were pitching by the end?
They were. So I know that Cora is speaking right now, and he hasn't said anything just yet. But the obvious case or the obvious candidate is Martin Perez, which kind of makes me nervous. There's Eduardo Rodriguez, who could pitch. There's also Chris Sale, but I do know that that Alex Cora said earlier pregame that they changed their mind. They want him out of the bullpen. So my guess is that it's Erod, because I'm no manager, but I don't trust Martin Perez. I don't even trust him out of the bullpen. Anyone who's listened to Locked On Red Sox knows that I haven't trusted him for months now. But I think that Erod is probably the best case scenario, which is kind of scary. But again, if he can go 2-3 innings, the bullpen's kind of washed now. Not washed, but they've all been used. He's got to go at least 5.
Do you know what the ironic thing of that would be? Is that if Eduardo Rodriguez gets the start, do you remember in the World Series between Los Angeles and Boston in 2018, and Nate Eovaldi had to pitch the 6 innings out of the bullpen, and they had no pitchers left, and actually they did. They had Drew Pomeranz, but they never used Drew Pomeranz.
They didn't use him.
That's the biggest slap in the face of Drew Pomeranz. But the next day, do you remember who the starting pitcher was?
David Price.
No, it was Eduardo Rodriguez.
Oh, it was Erod.
And he was on no day's rest, and he actually pitched him into the 6th, and he let up the home run to Puig, and he threw his glove down, and everyone thought, "Oh, the Dodgers are going to tie it." Then they wanted the bullpen meltdown. But yeah, wouldn't it be something if yet again it's Eduardo Rodriguez who has to take the ball when the Red Sox play a marathon game? So
literally a marathon game.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Oh my God! You know what? I totally forgot about that. That's right. Well, you know what? I got to tell you something. This game tonight, I know it was draining. Whether you're a Rays fan, whether you're a Red Sox fan, it was absolutely draining to me. And we got another segment we got to do here in this podcast. But I need a boost of energy. I don't know what you do. But when I need a burst of energy like that, I grab myself a Built Bar, because Built Bars are the best tasting protein bars out there. Lauren, do you have a favorite Built Bar flavor?
I do. It's cookies and cream. It is the best flavor out there.
That's a great one. So is German chocolate. So is orange, strawberry, salted caramel, double chocolate. I know Stacey Gotsulias loves mint brownie. There's cherry barcia coconut. My favorite one is raspberry. I love chocolate and raspberry. I love that tanginess with the chocolate. It's so great. But if you haven't tried the flavors, get a mixed box. Get a Built Bar mixed box where you get 2 of each of those 9 flavors. And they're not only delicious, Lauren, and anyone else listening to me, but they're healthy too. 17 to 18 grams of protein. Calories range from 130 to 180. 4 or 5 grams of sugar. 4 or 5 grams of net carbs. Amazing flavors. They're all tasty. They're all healthy. You order today, you get the grasshopper cookie or the raspberry or your cookies and cream or whatever you want. Built Bar is the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team, which I think is pretty cool. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off of your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. For those Built Bars, we're here with Lauren Campbell, the co-host of Locked on Red Sox, who's been my podcasting friend for almost a decade. It's been like 7 years.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's for 7 years. So now this team that I thought was lucky to be there is one home win away from going to the American League Championship Series. I guess anything can happen in a best of five, but especially after game one, when they just looked like, all right, we beat the Yankees. We're just happy to be here. And then they let up the grand slam by Sale. I remember thinking, okay, this is done. This was fun. At least they beat the Yankees. This was fun. So all of a sudden we're thinking like, wait a minute. If they win, they could beat Houston or Chicago. That's possible. Well, what's going through your mind as you're allowed to be unbiased?
A lot is going through my mind right now. I think that, that they have been competitive. And at the end of the day, at the beginning of the season in February and March, there were experts, there were analysts saying that this team will not be much better than the Orioles. They were leaving them out of playoff contention, out of wild card contention. And here they are competing with the best of the best. And if they beat the Rays in this series, anything can happen. I mean, they're just one win away, like you said, one win away from advancing to the ALCS. It's set up perfectly. It's Marathon Monday on October 11th. It's also my birthday, so it's like a perfect setup for them to win.
And they are thinking about you, Lauren.
They better be.
That is a consideration, and we're going to win this for Lauren.
They better be. They don't have the best record on my birthday, but they're 70-53 on Marathon Monday. So yeah. I'm going with that record on Marathon Monday.
Yeah, but they're not going to play the game at 11 a.m.
Correct. No. Thank God it's not 11 a.m. game. Yeah. But I think a lot that there's tons of momentum. There's tons of excitement. There's tons of personality. There's tons of heroes on this team. Christian Vasquez was the hero on Sunday, and very unexpected when you have people like Xander Bogaerts, Hunter Renfroe, even Rafael Devers, JD Martinez in his ankle brace doing the things that JD Martinez does. Kike Hernandez, incredible postseason. And it's Christian Vasquez who he wasn't even catching to start the game. It was Plawecki who started the game. So it's so much fun watching this team. It's very like 2013 vibes where they're having fun. They're pulling each other's beards like in 2013. They're giving each other their rising cards in 2021. So much fun, so much momentum going into Monday.
You had that the Kyle Schwarber celebrating when he did the toss to first base in the third or fourth inning when he muffed that toss, and so when he actually did it right, he started celebrating like that was hysterical.
Yes,
that was
so much fun.
You don't often hear laughter from the stadium, but you actually heard rolling laughter when Schwarber did that, and I thought it was great. I can't tell you how stunned I am that this has happened, and of course, let's not start booking any duck boats just yet, because lest we forget, this is a 100-win, very resilient team, and there have been instances. I mean, there have been a bunch of instances where you have the team that went on to win the World Series having their backs to the wall and facing elimination in the division series. I mean, let's just go. I mean, I'm just off the top of my head, I'm remembering when the Nationals, of course, when they beat Los Angeles and they won that wild extra inning game in LA, but they weren't favored to win.
Right.
The Rays were favored to win. And this situation, I'm hoping it's, I'm not being biased. Red Sox fans should hope that this is not a repeat, but when Kansas City was in the division series against Houston in 2015, the Astros were a big upstart team. They were a big overachieving team there. And they were up 2-1 and had a lead at home, and the place was going nuts. And oh my God, the Royals were the best team in the American League. They're about to get upset by Houston. And then the Royals just turned it on in the second half. Astros got tight, made a ton of errors. They won that game. They won the finale, and then they went on to beat the Blue Jays and ultimately the Mets in the World Series. So there are instances where the heavily favored team is on the verge of getting smacked down in the division series only to right the ship. So Red Sox fans, don't get too cocky. You still have to win one game against the best team in the American League. And so this could either be the moment of the great upset or the moment where the team digs down deep and finds the champion within.
Yeah, and it really could go either way because the Rays, obviously, like you said, one of the best team in the American League and resilient. They're angry. They had calls go against them in this game.
Yeah.
But you also have the Red Sox who are just incredibly competitive, cannot count them out by any means. And now the momentum is in their favor. They can win this all at Fenway Park in front of their home crowd. So it really could go either way. I still think the series is going 5 games, but regardless, at the end of the day, it's going to be incredibly entertaining.
Okay, here's the last question I'm going to ask you here. This is a key question. Do they wear those weird yellow uniforms because it's marathon day?
They have to. They absolutely have to. I just feel like they had so much good luck, quote unquote, good luck in these jerseys, and it's Marathon Monday. It's the momentum is in their favor. You do whatever you can to win.
Wouldn't that be something if they clinch? I mean, no chicken should be counted right now. This
Right.
is an incredibly resilient Tampa Bay team, especially when you consider who's favored in terms of the pitching matchup. Nobody.
Right.
Nobody. And so this could be the bulletin board moment for the Rays, or this could be the moment where the Red Sox know they're playing with complete house money, because I don't think many people, as you said, a lot of people didn't think they were going to win 80 games this year. And I'm sure a lot of people didn't think they were going to beat the Yankees. I didn't think they were going to beat the Yankees in the wild card game. And most people did not think they were going to be competitive in this series against Tampa Bay. And so the fact that all those things have happened, and if they lose games 4 and 5, they can hold their heads up high and say, we overachieved this year. And what are you going to do? The Rays were better.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Man, could you imagine if there's a walk-off in those uniforms looking like the UCLA varsity team? Could you imagine how weird that would be? But I'll tell you I'll tell you though, do you what would make it for Red Sox fans? If you see that clip, you won't have to ask, which game was that?
Right. Exactly. You'll know exactly which game it is.
Well, look a game is tomorrow. A game is going to be on Monday. This is why baseball is the best sport of them all, is because this wild, weird 13-inning game happened, and first pitch is 18 hours from now? Something crazy like that?
22. I can't do math. 21.
21 hours. Okay, fine. 21 hours from now, let's get back in. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Yep. Let's get going. I love that. I love that. And I love having you on the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing follow Lauren on Twitter at Lauren, just as it's spelled.
Yep, exactly. Phonetic.
And where can people follow your podcast?
You can hear me co-hosting the Locked On Red Sox podcast Monday through Friday. The Twitter is LO_Red Sox. So be sure to check that out.
And if you have it on your podcatcher, you can check it out. And I'm going to show you on my phone here. Hey, look who subscribes to it. Right there.
Look at that.
Look at who subscribes to it. I put my money where my mouth is right there. Absolutely. Well, Lauren Campbell, thanks for jumping on. For those of you who don't know, I sent out an email when I started this, and I said, is anyone around? I'd love to have someone jump on the show. When I started recording this, I was going to do it solo, and then Lauren's like, I could jump on. There you go.
Here I am.
You never know. You never know who's going to show up to Locked On MLB. But I'm going to post this on today, the 10th, Sunday the 10th. Who's going to do a fast turnaround here. This has been Locked On MLB. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're available on all platforms for free, and here on YouTube if you want to see my face. If you want to follow me on Twitter, hey, there's a new lower third right there. You can follow me on Twitter at Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Talking about the wild, weird, controversial letter of the law, spirit of the law, and loving that dirty water with Lauren Campbell of Locked On Red Sox. This has been Locked On MLB for the 10th day of October 2021. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.